What's up everybody, my name is Wreck-It Rob, and today we're going to be going over how to sanctify your heroes. And then I'm going to be going over a couple of the heroes that I have sanctified, as well as actually sanctifying one on screen and showing you which skill I'm picking for that reason. Sorry this video was a little late today. When I actually had this idea, I went and looked and realized that I had like just 6-starred. I just 6-starred my Athena last night. Where is he? Or her, sorry. Yeah, I just 6-starred my Athena, and I had used up all my heroes and resources and Ascension Cats and had nothing to build it with, or to do this video with. So I had to go through, grind, get some heroes, and actually be able to do this. So, I'm going to be showing you guys how to sanctify your heroes. So we're going to be doing this with my Flame Spirit, who I've been wanting to sanctify for a little while. You can see it's not sanctified. So what you're going to need in order to sanctify your heroes, and I believe this is the same for all of them, yes. So you just need a 5-starred copy of that hero. So, like for my monk, I would need a 5-star monk, I would need a 5-star goblin engineer. You just need a 5-star copy of whichever hero you're wanting to sanctify. So this is why, and I preach this to kind of all my friends that play Calibria. Whenever you get a copy of a hero, you want to save the first one and use that to sanctify, and then use copies after that in order to skill them up, if you're planning on doing that. So, first one you need to save for sanctifying. So in my 6-starring video, I said that take the copies you're wanting to feed as skill ups and use those to help ascend it. So this kind of goes along with it, because if you're wanting to use the first one to sanctify, you don't want to feed that one to ascend it, which I think is something important that everybody needs to know. So 5-stars are going to be the rarest to get with it. So in my last video, no, it was 2 videos ago, I did some summoning. I got a copy of my Ironheart. I didn't use that to sanctify it. I used that instead and fed it, simply because I didn't want him necessarily. I didn't need to sanctify him necessarily yet, which a lot of people are going to get mad at, because my chances of getting him back are probably not going to happen for a couple of months, but you know, it is what it is. Anyway, so I'm going to be showing you. So I took the liberty, we're not using this one. This one I'm building for a second Flame Spirit. We're using this one. You're using this one because it is not evolved yet. So something when you're using a hero to sanctify another one, you do not have to evolve it. So you do not need to spend the time to do this. I can do this if I want to, but I don't. I've already made this one. I'm already using this one to build another one. I think this one, yeah, I already have runes picked out for it. So we're going to be using this one. So we just need to go in, and we need to ascend this one to 5-star. So we're gonna feed these 4 to it, ascend it. All right, cool. Now we have a 5-star Flame Spirit. Now in order to do this, we're gonna go over here. We're gonna click on the one that you want to be sanctified. You're gonna click Sanctify, and then click the little face icon that pops up there. And this is gonna give you a list of your heroes that qualify for this. So you just want to click on whichever one it is. If you're building 2, make sure that you have whichever one you don't want to be fed locked. So yeah, you see how this one's locked and this one's not? That's why I'm able to use this one and not the other one, even though the other one's only 4-starred right now. Let's get back to it. Click Sanctify, click the one you want to use, and then just click Sanctify. Was broken. Disappear. I've never read that was broken screen before. Okay, so now we have the ability to sanctify the Flame Spirit. And now you can actually turn off a sanctify. So if I wanted to use this one, I could actually deselect it afterwards and shut off the sanctify ability. Don't do that. That's stupid. So anyway, I forget which one it is. So we're gonna want one of these that boosts, not you, attack. Here we go. This is the one I want on my Flame Spirit, because I use my Flame Spirit mostly in like arena speed teams and things like that. So I want her to preferably be doing more damage to everybody. So not only is this boosting her base attack, it's also getting rid of the damage reduction that you get whenever you attack the stronger the stronger faction. So we're gonna be using this one. Okay, so now if you look at her base stats are now boosted, so she's gonna be doing a lot more damage. Something that I know a lot of people, get out of here, Origin. Something that a lot of people ask about before they've sanctified something and kind of stress over a little bit too much is picking the right sanctifying skill. Well, I'm just gonna show you guys this. You just click cancel and you can just go and select whichever other sanctified skill you want. Once you sanctify a hero, that's it. They're sanctified. You can choose whatever skill you want. You don't have to do it again. You don't have to freak out about using the correct one. It's done. It has been sanctified, and you can use whichever thing on it that you want. I forget which one it was. This one? Yeah. So in order to switch, you just cancel the one you're on, and then select the one that you want to use. Yeah, I clicked the right one. Okay, so I have not sanctified that many of my heroes. Let's see if I go through. I sanctified my Angel of Death. If you see, it's with a different skill. The reason I picked this skill is because she was having issues of dealing damage whenever she was farming, and she wasn't completely killing things. It was causing her to die. Something that is a great tip for this: use this skill in combination with a drain set. So I'll just show you right here. This is kind of off topic for this video, but I feel like it's something great for people to kind of know, to kind of think about the strategy behind it. So you drain 35% of the damage you deal in HP. So if you're dealing a ton of damage, you're going to be getting 35% of that damage back as health. Now, when you combine that with this sanctified skill, well, your attack is being boosted by 15% automatically. So you're going to be getting an extra, whatever it mathematically is. I think it is just 15%. So say you're getting an extra 15% more HP every time you hit something. Well, that's great. And now, with increasing the crit damage or the amount of HP that you lose, assuming you're building a crit-based damage dealer, which you should be, mathematically it works out better. You get more, you deal more damage with a crit-based instead of just straight attack. So always build your things crit-based. Anyway, so as the HP is decreased, the crit damage increases, so the amount you're healing yourself by increases by that much more. So it says only increasing by 0.5% for every 1% HP lost. Well, if you're down 90% of your HP, that's an extra 45% crit damage. So that's an extra amount of HP that you're going to be gaining back every hit. So that is kind of a really good ideal build for a farmer, because then it's pretty much never going to die. Anyway, yeah, so she is sanctified with Brave. I just told you the reason why. Let's see, I have not done my Windwalker yet. I need to do that. Of course I'm not done him. I showed him in my Building Druid video. I put this on him so he was a little bit tankier and he wouldn't die, and then so that way his healing effects would help keep the rest of my team alive for, like, you know, dungeons, arena, whatever I feel like using him in. I think that's the only one. You're not sanctified. Did I sanctify something else? I feel like I remember I need to do my mummy. Oh, I just remembered. I just summoned a couple of mummies and I forgot to save one to sanctify him. Oh, I'm stupid. You see, I make these mistakes, so you don't have to. But yeah, anytime you get a copy of a hero, always save one to sanctify it. Especially if you're going to be using that hero a lot. Like after I finish skilling up my newly built Rock Golem, which I will be doing a video on sometime soon. After I finish skilling him up, I'm going to save an extra one, or seek out an extra one to sanctify him. And something else to note about sanctifying, they have to be completely maxed for this. So like, if you look at my Goblin Engineer, I can sanctify him. But if you look at my Rock Golem, who's only level 38, Sanctifying is locked because he has to be level 40, which you can only get at 6-star. So to go through kind of a couple of the different builds, or just a couple of the different sanctifying skills. So this one, I'm just gonna go through and rate kind of all of them really fast. Improve by rune skills, boost damage taken from. Okay, so this one is good for Leviathan, or anytime you're going up against someone who deals a lot of dots over you, which is damage over time. Damage to enemies with shields. This is good if you're going up against... Honestly, this would be good for going up against really anybody who gives your team shields, which I think, like, Elven Queen does. I think Elven Queen gives shields, so this would be a good one for if you have, like, an AoE attacker and it's going after the Athena, or after the Elven Queen. So this will deal extra damage, and it'll strip off all the shields, deal a 15% extra damage to him. Actually, deal 2 times the damage to him, sorry. Plus increasing their own attack. So if you have shields on you, you're gonna, or if they have a shield on them, you're gonna end up doing way more damage than even if they didn't have the shield. Increase base defense by 15. Use effective defense down statuses. Okay, so this one is really good for if you're using a, well, honestly, kind of any defense-based unit, and you're dealing with any kind of defense down effects, like Colossus. Colossus is a great example. This is honestly probably the skill I'm going to throw on my mummy for my Colossus team, because he tends to die a little bit, and the defense breaks on him tend to do... Get out of here, Origin. The defense breaks on him tend to do a bit more, because whenever you defense break a defense unit, they really don't have anything else to save them when they take damage, because you don't really build them with high HP, so when you lower their defense, they're kind of just they kind of just have mediocre stats all around. So that's why you kind of want this on defense-based units. Hawkeye, increase base hit by 20%. Norse targets resistance by 15% on hit. Okay, this one's good for honestly anyone who you're not really concerned about dying. So let me think about this. A great example for this would be the Succubus. So how the Succubus has an AoE defense break, this would be great to throw on a Succubus, because you want to make sure that those defense breaks land in order that whichever nuker you're using hits the hardest. But honestly, this works on anybody who you want to be a debuffer. Like, once again, for my mummy in Colossus, I can easily throw this on my mummy and deal a lot more damage with poisons, just simply because more poisons are going to land. Or my Hattori. Base HP by 15. Or 10% turn. This one I think is really good if you pair it with somebody who can save you from death. So, what is it? Protect Soul? I think it's called Protect Soul. A couple of heroes have the ability, anytime you get hit, you can't be killed when you have that on, you have to strip that off first. So if you have this and you're pairing it with a unit that does that, this would honestly be great. Because anytime your turn ends where you're almost dead, you're gonna regain HP. So it's gonna keep you further away from dying. Step 15. Yeah, this is good for honestly any damage dealer, really. Any damage dealer you're really wanting to bring against a wide variety of units, that's really what this is used for. That's why I threw it on my Flame Spirit, because when I take it into Arena, I want it to be dealing a good amount of damage to everybody, not just to the ones it's strong against. Reduce defense by 50%, reduce damage taken by 50%, do more than 50% of own HP. It may only be triggered once per battle. Okay, so this is good if you have like an arena team. This is really good if you have an arena team that's not meant to take first round. They're meant to survive past the first round and then move on, because you prevent your hero from being taken out in that first turn. So A good example is a Spider Queen. So if you have Succubus, Defense Break, and then Spider Queen were to attack all of your units, and say they all had this on them, they wouldn't die. They would not die, because it would only deal 50% of their HP at that point. Which, to be fair, your heroes could be able to survive past that, depending on what the other units that they're using are. But that's just a good example for which one to use that for. Free space resistance. Ooh. Good example for this one is how I was talking about in my last video, the Windwalker. Use this on... You don't have to use this on the Windwalker. If you're fast enough, you're not going to need it as much. But anybody who you don't want to take stuns, really, stuns are going to be the most common one, or defense breaks. Like, you could potentially set up a team with a resistance lead and then have them all sanctified with this skill, and just like nothing will land on them at all, which honestly, now that I think about it, would be kind of cool defense to try out. Base HP but 15, handle damage. Yeah, this is just if you don't want somebody to die, throw that on there. Base attack, HP is less than 50% HP. This one would be good. So if I was just thinking about this actually. So I'm building a second Flame Spirit. I'm building that for my arena speed team. And this would be good by having them sanctified in two separate ways. So the first one you'd have sanctified to deal even amount of damage to all of them. This one would increase the damage a little bit more on all of them if you had this one going second. So the first Flame Spirit goes, nukes them down to about half or maybe a little less health to where they would normally survive after the first round. But then your second Flame Spirit hits them with this, does even more damage, and they die. That's honestly a great kind of arena speed team right there. Increase base defense by HP and negative status effects. This one I'm not as crazy about because it's just kind of a self-cleanse every once in a while. I mean, it keeps you from dying a little bit more, but honestly, I think it would be better if you just had some kind of immunity in place, like the Druid's, what is it, the second, third skill? Whichever one it is, the one that gives immunity. I would prefer using that over this one and just have it sanctified with a better skill. Base resistance, resisting an effect. Yeah, this is another good one. So how I was talking about building a team that was just based on resisting things and kind of outlasting them. This would be a great skill to put on, honestly, kind of any of them, or all of them. Because every time they resist, they're just going to be gaining HP. So, like, say you have a whole team that resists the Succubus's AoE defense break, then all of them gain 5% HP. And you're going to be so much better off. 20% chance to reflect 50% damage. I like this one. I would throw this on my unit that's probably going to be attacked first. Like, I would probably throw this on, in my current arena team, or my arena defense team, probably my Windwalker. Because this one you kind of want being used as a defensive unit, because whenever you're using an offense team, whenever you're taking an arena offense team in, you have to think about you're the player going against an AI. Whereas when you're putting it on defense, it's your hero's AI versus a player. So you got to think about who they're going to be targeting. So I would put this on my biggest threat on my defense. So I would probably throw this on. She's not necessarily the biggest threat, but I would say probably the one that they would want to kill first would be my Windwalker, because my Windwalker's decently fast now. I haven't showed you guys it since the last video, but I added a fair amount of speed to her. I think I added like 25 speed or something. Increase base attack, increase damage by 30% when attacking an enemy is able to. Okay, I think the skill works with stunning, but this would be a great one for my demonic swordsman, because I use him to stun something, and then I use him as my main damage dealer in my arena team. So he would just be doing more damage to the stunned heroes. So yeah, just pair that in a team that you're going to be using for stunning or action locking or anything like that where they can't do something that turn. Base defense by 50%. If affected by an unable to perform status action. Okay, so this is a good one for arena defense specifically, because, well, like I said, generally the kind of arena meta is stun the Windwalker and then kill everything else, or just stun, oh that came unstunned, restun. That's kind of how I deal with it. So this one, if people had this on their defense, I would get kind of annoyed with, because it makes it harder to kill the things that I've stunned. So essentially this just gives them a defense buff is that the whole time? Anyway, so it effectively gives them a defense buff whenever you stun them or action lock them or anything. So like I could throw this on my Windwalker, and then anytime somebody stuns or action locks her, she'd get a defense buff, so she'd be less likely to die. So once again, that would be good on throwing on whichever one is kind of your biggest threat or main buffer or main debuffer, whichever one they're probably going to stun. That's where I would put that. Counterattack when resisting an enemy's attack, which is 2 times per turn. This one I would put on, so how I said building a team based on like total resistance, I would throw this one on the damage dealers in that team, because that would be great, because it would just be counterattacking. 2 times per turn, that's actually pretty good. So if you're taking it against a team that has a lot of debuffs, having this in there and using that resistance team would honestly work out amazing, because your damage dealers are just going to be counterattacking like every time they attack pretty much. Because if you're doing, I think I've seen a 41% resistance boost, and then you have a base of 15, so that's 56 right there, plus an added potentially 20% to everybody, that's 76%. Chances are you're going to resist almost everything. This one, great, throw it on a healer. That's honestly it. This one, pair this with Drain Runes. Such a good combination, because anytime that unit is about to die, if it attacks once, it's going to be doing more damage, which is comboing with the Drain Runes, healing it more. It's so good, so good. Increase heal effect of healing skills received by 30%. This one is, if you're going to be healing a particular unit a lot, throw this on it, because then you're going to have to heal it less. So like if I comboed my druid with this and then my mummy I had this on, chances are my mummy's not really going to die, because it's getting a defense boost and getting 30% more heals on top of the druid dishing out 20% more healing. So it's going to be getting a lot more. They're really good things to combo with if you have a unit that doesn't normally heal a whole lot. If you have it with this and then other units with that, it's going to be healing so much more than it normally would. Increase base resistance. Affect them with stun. Ooh. I don't know why I've never looked at this one before. So this one, when it resists an enemy's attack, or when you resist an enemy's attack, 25% chance to affect them with a stun for 1 turn at the end of their turn. So you could potentially, once again, that resistance team, you could throw this on one or all of them, and then they would end up getting stunned, and say you threw your damage dealers with whichever skill it was, this one. If you had your damage dealers with this, your non-damage dealers with this, they're going to be stunning them just automatically, and then your damage dealers are just going to go wail on them with this skill. Honestly, there are a lot of things with Sanctifying that you can play around with. There's a lot of different combinations. This is one of my favorite parts about this game, because it allows you to take a unit, like, the flexibility in this game is kind of what drew me to it, because not only do I have the flexibility of all of its skills, I also have the flexibility of sanctifying it, which is kind of just like you're evolving it again, because you're getting a stat increase. It might only be to 1 stat, but it's still a 15% boost. So you're getting a stat increase, plus added onto that, you're getting whichever one of these additional abilities you want to throw on it. So I just think that this is such a genius idea that you can throw any one of the skills on anybody, because that's not something you normally see with games like this. Normally you see the runes or the gears or whatever, and that's kind of the extent. But with this one, adding the sanctifying skills, it just allows the flexibility to be so much more insane. I love it. But I think that's all I have for sanctifying skills for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you liked it, make sure to wreck that like button down below, as well as the subscribe button. Make sure to share this with people, and let me know down in the comments your takes on some of the things I was saying about the different sanctifying skills and things like that. And I hope you all have a good day, and I will see you in the next video. Later.